takes a step forward.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Then and Now podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, C. Diesel, and I have the illustrious normal co-host with us today. We have the Luce V of Britannia and King of the Comics, Professor E, King of the Comics, Ethan Murphy. How y'all doing today, brothers?
I'm offended that you said of Britannia because, no. I mean, besides that, I'm decent, trying to recover from this year from BlurredCon. Had to come back from that and work 2 days straight back to back, so happy to have a somewhat day off, if you want to call it that. But, yeah, happy to be here. We got some good... Well, I don't know if I'll say good topics. So we got some topics to talk about.
Okay, let's not do that. Professor E.
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's funny you call me Professor E because I just came back from a job interview at a private art school where they basically were trying to hire me.
Another job?
Another job, but it's a job that I really want. It's like they want me to teach creative writing to these middle school, like this gifted middle school class. Essentially, it's like, that's like my dream. To get paid to do what I already do already.
The Dead Poet Society. That's gonna be you.
Basically, like that. Yeah. I'm the Robin Williams. So for now on, call me Robin Williams. Call me King of Robin Williams. There you go.
King of Robin Williams. Okay.
Robin Williams. There you go.
Hopefully that's not disrespectful.
Robin.
or Robin Williams of comics.
We'll just call you Robin. That's already one of the personas anyway. So we'll just say it there.
It's true. By the way, how you doing, Dev? How you doing there, Superman?
Tired as hell.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's all you need to say.
And before we get into it, anybody that was interested, and you wanted to know how BlurredCon went, we did a live stream with our live correspondent here to the left of me, talking about everything that was going down there. So we got a stream in while he, as well as a couple of our other friends and cohorts from other shows and same organization with different shows. They were all there. They all gave their thoughts on BlurredCon and what it was like. So if you guys are interested to see how it was like, go check that video out. It's on there somewhere recently associated with this one. But today, guys, we have a pretty big loaded docket. This is something that I'm never against discussing when it comes to that of DC. They have a lot of things to cover. They've been working. DC's been working in all their departments, from the live action stuff that James Gunn has been working to develop, to the animation stuff, all the way down to apparently webtoons now. So you would think comics, but no, webtoon. But we'll start light. I guess we can start with the webtoon actually, because it's featuring one of my favorite DC heroes that I've seen initially was introduced to from the Justice League series. That Vixen.
Crimson Crowbar?
Huh?
I thought Crimson Crowbar was your favorite.
Why don't accuse me of that shit? That's a crime. That's a crime around here.
He does also have a webtoon. I dropped that in there too.
I purposely ignored that one. You said what?
Red has a webtoon too. But he's talking about Vixen.
Oh yeah, of course. I Vixen. I
want to
Red Hood. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I purposely ignored the Crimson Crowbar. I'm sorry. But yes, the Vixen NYC is the name of the webtoon series. I'm pretty sure it's free to view. At least I've been reading through it for free on my end. Literally, just like I think I went to the link. It's on is it just the website webtoon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty solid. It's I guess more of a modern reimagining of the character. It kind of made her like I don't know if she's like a teenager or she's in college, or I don't know what her exact age is. I know she's living by herself in in New York with a friend. So I'm gonna guess that she's like college age at least, or living with some kind of family or something of the sort. But again, young Vixen, not the Vixen we're used to with all the sex appeal and as an adult or whatever else. So I definitely have been enjoying this one. And I enjoy the kind of spin they took. I haven't read a lot of her original stuff to see what the original origin story was, but as far as this one goes, they're relating the story of the necklace she has back to dating to slavery, actually, or at least the transatlantic slave trade in that triangle. As regarding, I guess there was an ancient African warrior that saw that the Europeans were coming over to take fellow neighbors in their land, and he was like, "I ain't down for that. I'm asking from help from the gods, and Anansi was the one that helped him out and gave him the power of the Vixen necklace, and that's how all that originated from. So it's not as far back as you would think when it comes to DC universe lore. So it's been cool. It's kind of light, not super heavy. Have you guys checked it out at all?
No, I first time hearing about it right now. But so the god Anansi, I do know Anansi obviously from what was that? Static Shock? Yes. Yes. That's what I'm saying. Is this the same? Is there any?
It's got to be. It's in the same universe,
right? But yeah. Okay. So there is a connection between those two.
Yeah, her and actual Anansi. If he's in it directly, I haven't gotten that far in the story to see if he's in it directly. That'd be cool. That'd be a cool little crossover to see. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, the abilities of the necklace and the actual Anansi come from the same African god. Yeah,
because Anansi is not obviously just beholden to DC. Like Anansi is a god, African god, and other in general, basically. Sometimes he's more malevolent, sometimes more benevolent,
pretty much.
Yeah, sometimes he's a she. So yeah.
Have you looked into it at all yet, Otis?
Yeah, I've read the first half of the comics, webtoon so far. I really enjoy it. She is in college, and yeah, it really gives a meaning to her origin. It's not just you're redone I came from here, now I'm going to go save all these people. She has a true story through that, and I always enjoy mediums where you can get really detailed on why a character is who they are. So I mean, I think webtoon is a solid destination for content like that, especially for characters that are less familiar, and you get to learn who they are for the first time.
I agree. I concur, my friend. Go ahead.
Do y'all know who's the writer who's writing on this? The writing team or anything?
I don't actually check. I did not check who the writing team is at all.
I'm looking right now. I'm looking at it right now because I'm looking at the artwork and it looks really, really good. Obviously,
it says the creator is by the name of Jasmine Walls and Mayu Zumi. I probably really butchered her name or his name. I apologize.
I think it's a female, Jasmine Walls here. But okay, looking at the resume too, it's pretty extensive. So yeah, okay, very cool, Jasmine Walls. Yeah, this actually looks really good. I mean, the artwork for those who haven't seen this webtoon looks really, really good. It looks like something more akin to, not obviously the same, but it looks more akin to Batgirl, the Batgirl comics that were done by what's her name, Dev? From a couple years ago, where Batgirl had the yellow on her leg, and then had the more modern take from a couple years back that Batgirl had. It was really, really strong. Really, Stephanie is the name of it. I can't remember her last name. Yeah, but it's a really, really good take because it seems more akin to that, whereas actually it has a strong female voice writing the content as opposed to in the past where you have kind of run-of-the-mill male writer handling it. I do think it's important to give female characters have a female voice. So I'm hoping that Jasmine is in fact a woman. So.
And in addition to this, there's some cool little crossovers. At least the one I've seen so far has been Beast Boy has made an appearance. So that's a pair up that I've. It makes sense on paper. You never would have thought to put those two together. Sure, it was cool. It's cool to see.
Yeah. Have they ever worked together in any other?
Not to my knowledge. If they have, it's really good.
What did you say, Otis?
No, I was just saying, not really. From what I've seen, again, might be some one-off comics from 1974. Other than that, but nothing recent from what I've seen. I would love to see it though.
That'd be a fire miniseries. I'd like to see those two together for a miniseries together. Or just put her in the new Teen Titans and do a newer version of it.
Or just bring back Young Justice and bring Vixen into that season of it. That's cool too.
I mean, why do something that makes sense? Why do something that makes sense?
Why do something that makes sense? Because also now with Young Justice, they're not really even young anymore. They're just in their 20s.
It's just justice.
It's just justice. Because the Vixen was always around that age anyway. So
she was always in her mid to late 20s, right? Yeah. At least as far as I've seen her in young in Justice League and whatever.
She's the same age as a team now. That's the thing. She doesn't have to be. Might as well put her
right. In addition to that, one last comment I'll say about the show that I enjoy is the fact that we're getting to see a lot more styles of black hair. As a nigga that is follicularly challenged myself, I enjoy seeing I enjoy seeing black hair displayed in positive lights, and it gets a little bit like it's creative. It's not the norm that you would see in real life, but it's something that you could play around with. That now you may see some people try to rock this type of hairstyle.
Yeah. I'm actually in favor of that too. We got to in post production, we'll make sure we put some pictures up of how her hair looks. But it is dope seeing that. I noticed that also. We all saw and all love Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It was cool seeing how Miles' hair, Otis kind of has that cut right now as how Miles' hair looks in the movie. So actually showing different styles and actually it is embracing, like you said, embracing black hair or embracing hair of color, so to speak.
I'm always a fan of natural styles, man. It's always something that grabs my attention immediately, and I appreciate being able to, see that in a medium that I enjoy, like webtoons.
It's like a weird combination of like locks and froze, like a combination of that, and then sometimes dreads and locks. It's a mixed match, and something I've never seen people do too often. That I think is cool.
You have to start putting people on.
Yeah, you said what?
He said that comic gonna put some people on. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, bro. It's like everybody pulled up with the Killmonger braids or the Killmonger locks after that. I swear I've seen 15 niggas with that style of locks after the fact. I was like, okay,
it was all over the place.
It almost never did it.
Yeah, you've been there, done that, right?
Yeah.
With the dreads and all that.
That's not never happened.
Moving on to we'll go to a big thing on the docket that I think we all three are excited about is the Isekai anime that DC is working on. It's going to be a Suicide Squad anime that is produced and animated by Studio Wit. So for people that aren't aware of this studio and what they have been doing over the past however long they've been around, they are responsible for shows such as Attack on Titan, fan favorite of ours, Spy Family, another one of my favorites, Ranking of Kings. Let me see what else they worked on that I'm missing. There's a bunch. After the Rain, there's some other stuff in here that I haven't seen. Vinland Saga? For at least, I don't know if it's just one season of Vinland Saga.
Yeah, for first season of Vinland Saga, yeah.
Yeah, so they've the Pokemon movie. They've done a lot of stuff. So this is a highly accredited studio that's done some really good work. So I'm very glad that DC went the route of getting a studio that has some bone in the game to make sure that this thing at least looks great and this isn't Batman Ninja, I guess.
I'm glad you actually brought it up because I was going to go to that. So like I am not necessarily excited about it because the last anime thing I did see from DC was Batman Ninja, and then also that fake Lupin episode of a Catwoman movie that they made, which was not well executed.
What, that short they did?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I enjoyed that. You talking about the one where she was like stole the thing from Black Mask?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I enjoyed it at least.
I think the animation is crisp.
The animation was fire, but the storytelling was garbage.
Right. So it's a matter of if they have capable writers handling the source material. Because I mean, the animation isn't the problem. Even with the Suicide Squad, it looks fire, but the writing could be.
The Batman Ninja animation looks fire until they turned into a monkey neck.
I was about to say, did that look fire?
That was the worst.
No, like seeing like Batman in the ninja armor on the roofs and stuff, like running across
earlier.
the rooftops. Like,
plus, that was more Batman Samurai if anything else too. I'm like, this nigga, like you are not a ninja. You have all this armor on.
Right.
Yeah.
There were no ninja walking around with full Shogun armor on, sir. Yeah. They don't have katanas. You have a full katana.
Typically, yeah. And also it's more CGI heavy than in the way it is now. But yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But looking at, have you guys at least seen what it looks like so far?
Yeah, look at the images now. Yeah,
it looks clean. Like it looks clean.
It looks great.
And the designs look clean. I'm interested to see like the voice actors for it to see because this is DC. I don't know if they go the route that Netflix did, like releasing Squid Game like that, where they released a like dub version. But I think most people that I saw and surprisingly watched the sub. I'm curious to see. It'll probably be more of a case here because it's like more of a nerdy thing than Squid Game. But I'm curious to see like if they bring in like Tara Strong to voice Harley or what they do there, or how they release that, or how they're gonna go about it. Because it's made by their studio, but is it a like technically like a American release thing? Or are they going to release it over there first? I don't know how they're going to go about that.
Right. That's a tricky thing. Also, the dubbing. Yeah.
Yeah. And that could also come out at a later time, depending on exactly how they're releasing it. There's not a whole lot of information out on how it's coming out just yet, but I mean, I'll watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I just, I mean, if you watch an episode or two, you have an idea of how I feel about Warner Brothers stuff. So just don't Warner Brothers it up.
Yeah.
but that being said, Otis being said, the Harley Quinn show that's on HBO, I guess the adult rated one, that's actually a good show. That's actually genuinely funny, well made. It's not, I wouldn't consider it an anime. It's very much more of an American comedy show.
I definitely I kind of like in the similar vein to you. I think DC has more hits than misses when it comes to animation. Because usually when they hit really well, and then when they miss, it's either mid or like I haven't seen too many like abysmally terrible DC animated things. It's usually just like mediocre if it comes out and it's bad.
There's a lot of DC animated things. So I haven't seen them all. I don't even follow them all. I mean, because also their age range, they range literally from like small little kids to the Harley Quinn Poison Ivy show, where it's very much adults. Like I mean, the pilot episode has so many bodies just stacking up. I was like, good God.
At least for the stuff teen and up. I haven't watched too many of like the kitty versions of them, obviously, but for like all of like the animated movie verse they had going on for a little bit, so stuff like Harley Quinn to Justice League Unlimited, that whole range of like teen to adult range animated content is all the stuff I've seen, and at least in my opinion, it's either great or it's mid. There's like no in between there.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I thought the Constantine movie was pretty bad, but besides that, I can't think of any that was just like god awful besides Batman Ninja.
Which Constantine?
Catwoman. It was the Constantine movie in the line of like the more recent film verse that they had with starting with Justice League War. And
so what about the Justice League Dark thing with Batman was tagged along with Constantine?
No. That's
not that one.
Dark.
He had that's Justice League Dark. Constantine had a solo one. It was like Constantine.
It was with him and Spectre, right?
Spectre showed up in there.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Because that one almost felt like a long short. Like it should have been a short.
Yeah,
that was a weird one.
That's most Constantine stuff in general. Like Constantine and like Jonah Hex are the two characters in DC where I'm like, I have yet to see you guys done well a long form content.
They love,
and that's me. Where like I didn't hate the movie, the live action movie either. But
I couldn't watch all of it.
I barely remember it. I remember like it being all right. I guess like the action at least was cool for me, but like those are two characters where I'm like they're interesting in like in concept, in theory, but I've yet to see anybody do them right.
Well, because the thing is, the other like I mean, Justice League. So what?
I feel like that's a great segue to the next DC animated one, where Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman are getting isekai.
And that's why I brought that up. But did you have a point that you were trying to get off?
No, I was gonna say real quick was just that there were some the Justice League Dark, which had Constantine in it. I thought that was a great movie, one of the better DC animated films. I think it's like full like 70 minutes, or it's a feature animated movie. I thought that was great. It had Batman. Batman was actually kind of more or less one of the side characters compared to Constantine. Seeing Constantine, the idea of a person that is like basically literally going to hell and back, and it's kind of like fuck you hell, like that kind of a character, it just works for me. So when he's done right, I dig him. When he's done wrong, it's bull. Did you all ever see the Constantine? It was the one before. It was one between Justice League Dark and the last one with Spectre, where he basically it's just him taking on a case trying to like save his friend's daughter or something like that. And there's a part where he ends up going to Los Angeles, or he's mostly in Los Angeles. And there's a part in that movie where he actually goes to it's essentially some kind of like a kind of a nightclub in a way, but it turns out the nightclub is actually like he's actually in hell, and it shows like it's definitely a rated R movie, but it shows there's a part where it gives you a full understanding of what Constantine's life is like being a person who has to deal with actual demons daily. That kind of a character to me is compelling. So
yeah, and it can be done really well. Especially like him and like with Jonah Hex too. They're not characters that like you probably need some CGI for Constantine because of the magic, but I don't think it's going to be super CGI heavy. It's more like, to me, I'm looking at that show or movie, whatever, maybe more of like a horror thing. And you guys already know what a horror, like you can do a lot of practical effects and not have to do as much CGI and still make it work. So I think those can be done extremely well if you put the right people in charge. Yeah,
if you leave it more like a noir detective story with Constantine, where it's just like almost like Seven. We've all seen Seven here. I know Otis loves Seven. I love Seven. Deb, you're a fan of Seven as well. If you pretty much, Brad Pitt even looks the way Constantine looks in that movie. So it's almost like you can almost do something like that, where it's more grounded, have a little bit of supernatural elements here or there.
So you don't want the Keanu Reeves Constantine back?
I mean, Keanu Reeves we all love Keanu, John Wick, but he's not.
I'm not mad at it, honestly. He's just about the right age too. If he wants to come back, I think
he's such a different. He's such a different. That's not the way he's meant to be. He's much more meant to be like the way he's been shown more recently. Even like Dean and Sam Winchester are closer to Constantine than Keanu Reeves is.
I wouldn't be upset about Dean playing Constantine.
He looks just.
He's Batman. We need him for Batman. I need him because at least for Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, I need that. Is getting much more. Yeah, it's getting out of hand.
He's the only one I accept now that Anyway, we'll get into that too. That's more news on him with one of the things on the docket as well.
We got off topic. We digress. We all digress.
Moving on to the thing that Otis mentioned briefly was the it's called World. I think it's Justice League World is what it's called. Yeah, World. It's essentially a kind of like in vein with the isekai that we talked about earlier, where Superman, like the trio, the Holy Trinity, and Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are all in different universes and have to find their way back to what my guess for the plot is that they're in World and they've been put in like these simulations for entertainment or whatever else. And then they're finding their way out of it and don't know they're in a simulation or something of that sort.
Could be that.
And then they have a lot of homages to traditional like old school Superman stuff, and he's in black and white and he's a reporter. They have an homage to Batman in which he got hit with that mega beam and he got thrown back in time. So they have that whole arc there.
So that was my theory, was that they got hit by a mega beam, and the mega beam is like they're sending them through different worlds.
This is World though. This is Mogo in World. Not am I wrong? Is that something different?
That's Mojo's from Marvel.
Not Mojo. Oh, there's a dude in World.
Mongols has World.
Mongol. I said Mogo. Yeah, Mongol. That is they kept a lot of niggas each other back and forth.
Yeah, that was a whole.
That was the whole concept of the same shit.
That was all. But the thing was with Mongol and World, it doesn't seem like it's that much of like a holodeck type of situation where it can create different worlds. Am I wrong? I feel like it was more like.
I think he can.
No, Mojo's World can do that, but I don't think Mongol's World is much more like an arena for gladiators to die in. I thought
because at least for me, I'm like Darkseid. It'd be kind of wild for them to do another Darkseid movie like right after they got done with Justice League Apocalypse.
I agree, but it's DC.
I mean, it is called World specifically, and I know that is Mongol's planet. So I mean, that's what I assumed, and maybe they just like souping him up for this iteration here.
Okay. All right, I'm not mad at that. I do like Mongol, so okay.
Which
shout out to Keith David who voiced him in Young Justice.
Speaking of voice actors reprising roles, again, we just mentioned Jensen Ackles. Jensen Ackles is now back as the voice of Batman. I feel like he's going to be the torchbearer going forward now that we have lost Kevin Conroy. Rest in peace. And I like Jensen Ackles, but it felt so weird not hearing Conroy's voice come out of that character. It felt so weird for me. And I was I almost teared up for a second as I couldn't get over it. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, it is. But the thing is, though, too, is they're pretty much, because I think they're all meant to be younger. Even Superman and Wonder Woman, they're younger too. So it's kind of like, I get it where, in a sense, this is meant to be all prequels or different age or era of these characters of Batman too. So I can accept him sounding different in a sense.
Yeah. Also, another conversation point is that they're going back to this animation style that I don't even know how to really describe it. It's something that I've seen them do like frequently with a lot of their with a couple of their recent stuff, where it's more like I guess simplistic, for lack of a better term, where it seems like a back to basics but updated kind of thing when it comes to the animation.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I actually like it. It's I think we first saw it in that Superman Man of Tomorrow movie that came out a few years ago. Otis and I, it's like the first movie Otis and I watched together back in the day. But it was it's that same kind of style. I actually like that, where essentially the line art is a little bit thicker, so you can see it more.
It's like a comic, literally.
It's like a comic, but at the same time, because it is old school 2D, the action seems faster. You can actually, it feels like it's coming in faster as opposed to like trying to make it clunky with weird CGI and stuff.
Stuff like this is like my happy medium as far as like them adding in things to make it look more, high tech, I guess, for lack of a better term, but then also keeping that little bit of tradition within it. So I enjoy the way it looks. It looks fine to me, and I enjoy it. But yeah, that was just an interesting note that I had there. I noticed that it looked very similar in how they were going about that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally prefer this art style to like some like the CG stuff that I see them experiment with. So if there's just like the new line of how they're gonna do those animated movies, I'll take it. I enjoy it.
Because I get that they're saving money with the CG, but it just does not I think the worst thing I saw recently with it was the Superboy movie that they did with John and Damien. I was like, this does not look good at all.
Yeah, again, that's some of the younger age bracket. But from what I understand, that was a decent enough movie, but it just it's meant for a different.
I couldn't get through it because it just looks so bad.
It was not visually pleasing. Yeah, and the writing wasn't the best, but I'm like, use that can get through stuff. And I got through it, but I was like, it's so jarring the whole time.
Yeah. Again, younger ages. I mean, I'm sure my nephew would like it, but
right. Again, yeah, they don't know any better.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because so my nephew, the one that will watch this, is basically 10. He's 10 years old right now, right? That's the same age. I was actually 9 or 8 when I watched Batman the animated series originally when it first came out back in the day. And that was the kind of content they put out when I was a kid. The content they have now for kids or aimed towards kids, it's almost in a way it feels like I just told you how I came from a job interview for the school, right? And the one that they said was, just because they're kids, you should never talk down to them. It's kind of the same idea as like you should always treat these people the way you want them to, what you want them to grow up into, as opposed to what they are. And sometimes it does seem like studios are very much almost demeaning their audiences as opposed to respecting them. That makes sense.
And that's what
Network.
But speaking of Cartoon Network, that's what I enjoyed about all the the initial DC stuff that I grew up on, with like the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited and the animated series and all that stuff. Like you said, it was like the plots were very they had layers to them. Characters were actually a lot of the Batman villains in the animated series were characters. Like they were villains, but you understood them as people first.
Yeah, 3-dimensional.
And I'm like, and the fact that I could I understood it. I can't argue. I can't lie and be like, all right, at 7 years old, I had a full comprehensive understanding of what this meant. But I understood that this was more than just, it's like Batman Brave and the Bold. It's essentially what, I get that was supposed to be like a hyperbole type of thing, and that was the thing. But I think that's what a lot of child animation is looking like now, where it's like, oh, this person is bad, this person's good. Their fight mission thing over. My little cousins were watching a Spider-Man show that has Peter Parker, Miles, and Gwen in it, where they this how they tackle their problems, and it's super kid-like. I'm just man, I'm watching it. It's I cannot get through 3 episodes of this.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, I literally used to watch. I watched the I know what you mean, Dale. I actually agree with that. I watched the pilot or the first episode on Leather Wings, that Batman episode on Leather Wings from Batman.
The first one, right?
Yeah, the first episode, right? Mm-hmm. Where the only episode that had him bleeding. But I watched it with my dad, who wasn't the biggest comic book fan at all. He watched. He's like, "This is actually really good." And he just sat there watching it. He's like, "Old ass man. He's older than I am. If you can believe that." And so for, yeah. So long. You wanted to say it forever. You wanted to have that.
Hey, you cheated up so well. I couldn't let it go.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Clip it.
Fair enough. But all I was trying to say before I got derailed into the wall was just old ass cats like my dad and me could appreciate that storytelling. It was young people could appreciate it. Old folks could appreciate it. And you said when you have kiddie material, it's basically only kiddies are gonna really glob onto it, and it has no real shelf life. The day those kids turn 6 or 7, what is this trash? So
those be going to the new thing on Netflix at the time. This is cooler now, so this is the new show. The way that children consume content is so much different than how we do.
Yeah.
Because I'm even thinking now. My bad. My bad. That's true. Go ahead, finish your point.
I'm just saying because now they have Netflix, which is what has made us even more efficient consumers of content.
That's what even I'm sorry, but even more so is also YouTube. You can just, I mean, y'all seen this nonstop. You can just pop on YouTube on your tablet. Parents, most parents, 9 out of 10 parents I see, they give a kid a tablet, let them look at crap on YouTube, and it's just distract them. It's just endless stuff.
You know what blows me about that? That like really like surprised me is like those little kids will sit there and watch like vlogs of other families or like reviews like of other like I know which I guess that's the pot calling the kettle black is I grew up watching like walkthroughs and gameplay walkthroughs and things of that nature.
Right.
But I'm like the concept of like watching another kid play with the toy that I don't have that I probably won't have for a long time is kind of wild to me. I guess, but I get it though. That's the content they're watching. They're watching these families, like these family channels or whatever else. And like my little cousins are like 4 or 5, and like one's like 2. Well, one's 6. He's going into the first and second grade. But like they watch that content, they enjoy it. Like they still watch like Pokemon, and like my older cousin will try to introduce them to like older shows that we watched growing up. But like a lot of their stuff, they'll watch these families and these little kids having fun with other toys and whatever else, and that's like how they live vicariously through them, I guess.
Exactly. That's what it is. They live vicariously. I mean, it is what it is. I get it. I mean, even us on some level too. We watch, all of us at one time or another has watched someone else playing a video game that we had an interest in for at least a little while. It's kind of similar enough to that idea.
Right. So it's interesting to me, like how everything comes full circle. Yeah. Nothing under the sun, right? But getting into a lot of the live action news, obviously there's been a lot of controversy in general with James Gunn. I know there's like a lot of weird stuff where Snyderverse fans and other people were like absolutely hated this man and like gave him all kinds of death threats. And literally I saw like a picture that somebody like sketched of like Henry Cavill Superman carrying around a bloody decapitated head of James Gunn around. Yeah. I'm like, this is nuts.
That's extra.
It's so extra, bro. It was when that got announced, people went nuts about that. And I didn't understand the Snyderverse fans. It's like I had this conversation with James because they did a lot of reports on the Snyderverse in general and like the fan base. It's like a lot of toxic like of people in the incel community, like all kind of like sat and gravitated in those communities for whatever reason. And then that's become like the Snyderverse hardcore fandom, and those kind of people are in that, and that's why they've been fighting back so hard.
James from small screen there. Yeah.
Shout out to small screen. But here's the thing, though. I know that Zack Snyder wouldn't want that. He wouldn't want people, threatening James Gunn.
He's publicly said it. It's nuts.
Yeah. So I think here's the thing too is that they don't see them as adversarial. I think you can actually have elements that James, whatever you might think of the Snyderverse, there are definitely elements from Zack Snyder's movies that can work. That I mean, some of his style is very deliberate. That works really well. So if you're able to kind of have James Gunn's storytelling with some of the style, the flair of Zack Snyder, you can have some of the best of both worlds. And I think we can all agree that the direction that DC was heading in before, we've all seen Batman v Superman. We've all seen the original version of Justice League. It's like these things weren't working. So we needed some kind of course correction. And I'm not saying to completely remove Zack Snyder, but just like,
all right. And to give you some grace, what I will say, this suffered from like a lot of the issues that I think like something like the new Star Wars trilogy suffered of like lack of consistency because Gunn's his daughter passed away. Like I think
Snyder.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh my God. Before Snyder, his daughter passed away, and like that took him out of the realm of even wanting to look at that stuff for a long time. And they had other people come in and tinker with his stuff, and then now you have this weird mashup of stuff that's his but not really his, and they're trying to figure out it's the whole thing, which is why I'm really happy that we at least have Gunn there to keep things cohesive, I guess, and kind of lay a vision down on some Kevin Feige type stuff. So I think
we're going to get into it with the POI, basically what they call auteur theory, and for better or worse, Feige had somewhat of an auteur theory that he used in the MCU. It does seem very much, obviously, that we talked about before, but the trilogy of the Guardians of the Galaxy, that's an auteur right there. You can tell those movies are made by James Gunn. And I think if he's able to at least have somewhat of a, like Dev just said, consistency with what he's doing in DC, that could definitely translate well. Having some kind of having something that seems thematic or consistent across the board would be good.
Right. In addition to that, Gunn's he's a big fan of this content. Like he's went and gotten some deep cut characters and groups, and again, he's a fan of comics and the content that he's working on. So if you already know my thoughts process on that, if you're a fan of this stuff, I feel a lot better having it in your hands. I know that you understand why we love it to an extent. Now, will you do that well? we don't know, but at least I know you understand why people like it, so you can kind of
which is a big thing, because I mean we're not going to hash this out too much. We're not going to hash it out, I promise. But part of the reason that there was some blowback with the Snyderverse originally was with Man of Steel. Even though I know Otis and I do appreciate the movie, I'm not sure how you feel about it, Charlie. Do you like Man of Steel? Or
I have nostalgia about it because my stepdad got like early viewings when he worked at Walmart in 2013, so we got to see it like before anybody else saw it.
Oh, nice.
And I had like a little poster on my wall and everything. It was cool.
Oh, word. Okay. So yeah. I actually do like Man of Steel. I mean, Otis.
I personally think it's the best Superman live action movie to date. I mean, but that's not saying a lot.
It's not actually.
Man, what's price is up there, man? You know.
But the thing about it is, though, even though I do like the movie, if you look at it fundamentally, there are a lot of things that aren't like Superman. And so it's almost like it almost feels like Snyder didn't really understand the character or care to understand the character. And so that's something that Gunn wouldn't do. Gunn embraces what makes the characters themselves and really hits the heart of them, so to speak. So like you're saying, Charlie, that's having a fanboy that knows what they're doing at the helm is a good thing, I think. So I'm not trying to give a slight to Snyder, but that is something I think that helped the MCU do so well back in the day, was having Feige, who's a hardcore fanboy, being the auteur of that universe, so to speak.
Another reason why I didn't fuck with Affleck Batman like that. Just keep those. Anyway,
who had the best fight scene from Batman in live action?
Like, but it's not even a question. Not even a question.
Yeah,
because I mean, we'll get into it later on, but the whole idea of how Batman wasn't the Flash, it's like, yeah, but we know that's there's no reality, which a 75-year-old man is running around doing that stuff.
Hell, Affleck Batman, shit, that nigga look old as Affleck, look old as fucking that suit doing what he was doing.
But he was still, I mean, in with Batman v Superman, a lot of that actually was like real practical. That wasn't a CGI.
No, I'm talking about what he was doing in the Flash.
Oh yeah.
Like, he looked old as fuck in the Flash.
That movie. We'll get into it as far as
doing
the
crazy shit.
CGI fest in that movie. Woo! CGI.
Getting into the actual Superman stuff with the new actor that has been announced as the new Superman in the Superman Legacy film, I think is what it's called, Superman Legacy or something.
Cavill Light? Cavill Light?
Cavill Light.
He looks like Henry Cavill, like a younger version of him. Like if someone said, "Oh, by the way, this is Cavill's brother," I'm like, yeah, I get that.
All right. I mean, hey, bro, if you're trying to find somebody that would kind of make fans happy, I guess it works to get somebody that looks like together. Like,
yeah.
And so this guy, I appreciate that he's not like a major blockbuster actor. He's been in some other projects beforehand. I think the most notable is the Pearl movie. That for people that are horror fans like myself, they went and saw him in that, and he's had like a slew of other miniseries and TV shows.
Yeah,
apparently, he was in a video game. So he hasn't had like a major. He was in House of Cards. I don't remember seeing him in that. Well, I never finished House of Cards.
That's a pretty ensemble cast though too. But let me see here.
Yeah, Mo and Joe. So yeah, he hasn't been in anything crazy. I think this is going to be like his first big blockbuster thing that he's going to be starring in going forward, which I appreciate. I think Gunn also does that well, because for people that don't know, this is also going to be the one movie that James Gunn is going to write and direct himself. So he's at the helm of this film. And this is going to be the film that kicks off the Gods and Monsters storyline that James Gunn and his team has been planning to write out and continue on going forward. So I'm excited. So the thing that excites me about this is just hearing the title in general. I don't know if you guys ever watched the Gods and Monsters animated movie that came out, where they had like Batman's a vampire and.
Oh yeah, I did see that. It looked more like the Bruce Timm kind of artwork, right? Yeah, I did. See that.
Like pretty much Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman were like. It was almost like they were in the Ultraman verse, but these characters were a lot more like Batman was a literal vampire and was kind of troubled in how he went about things. Superman was like a dictator. I forgot what the hell they had Wonder Woman doing. It was cool.
Yeah, it was an Elseworld tale.
Yeah, it was a pretty realistic take showing of like how this absolute power would corrupt people. So that being the tagline of this whole phase that they're going into has me really curious to see about how they're going to go about it. I don't know if we're going to get an evil Superman or Batman per se. But I do hope that means that we're going to get some looks into the introspection of like what that kind of power does to people going forward.
Well, that's one thing we can all agree on is that there weren't the biggest character studies in the more recent DC movies. It was, ironically enough, the Flash movie that came out did have one of the most deepest character studies of Barry Allen in a sense. So what you want to say about that? So I'm looking forward to the idea of them actually trying to explore, because from what I understand, this new Superman movie that's coming out What's it called again, Dev?
I'm gonna look up the official name. I think if I remember, it's like Superman Legacies or something like that.
Legacy, something like that. I know it's more. They were trying to actually explore more the idea of Clark Kent, because for those who don't know, that actually is who he really. That's really what Superman is. Superman really is Clark Kent, and he actually wears the Man of Steel outfit. Bruce Wayne, he really is Batman. He wears a Bruce Wayne outfit, essentially. So. Actually exploring what he actually, if Clark had his druthers, he'd just be Clark all the time. He wouldn't have to be Superman. So kind of exploring the duality of that and what it's like for him. That could be interesting. Have an actual chemistry in that regard.
And when I look at any like Star Wars, I saw Star Wars on the screen here and it like took my mind off.
I saw the bright light like a cat.
I saw Ahsoka Tano on my screen. I was like, oh shit. Anytime I see a Superman story, any Superman story that I've enjoyed has done that exact thing. It's focused on him being like, again, Superman being the big thing and Clark Kent being the mask and exploring his life. Like, say what you will, I enjoyed Smallville for a lot of that reasoning where it looked into like him trying
that
to.
That was a good part of the show.
That was the
and I enjoyed that aspect. And when they tried, and I think that show went downhill where they tried to have him be Superman, and he was doing all the kinds of this wild Superman shit, like with the Justice League or whatever else in that show.
That was horrible.
Yeah. I mean, also when Rosenbaum wasn't on there, that show wasn't that interesting. So,
and he left like 4 seasons before they left.
He was there for a fat minute. Yeah,
he left like season 6, I think it was season 6, season 7.
Yeah, because they had because his dad, the Lionel Luthor in that show, like finally pieced out and they had him take over. And then he once Lex dipped out of that show, they were like, Doomsday? Question mark? Whoa. Which honestly, I kind of like the Where Doomsday thing where they made him a werewolf. I kind of like that concept. I will say.
What you just said. Clip that. He just said when they made Doomsday a werewolf, and he likes it. That those words shouldn't exist together.
The concept of like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing where you're an unstoppable killing monster and you don't know it. And like the fact, like, I don't know, I thought it was a cool concept. I don't like the design choice they went with, but I like the idea of like that monster. I like that idea.
Clip that.
Yeah, but yeah, again, hopefully that being the case, that we get that out of Superman going forward. Especially with this being called Legacy, I'm assuming that we're going to see a lot of Kara in it as well. Also, other big news in addition to that film is that it's been confirmed that there is going to be a casting of the Green Lantern. Guy Gardner is going to be in this film as well. So he started.
Nathan Fillion confirmed.
Has it been confirmed?
Yeah. Wait.
Nathan Fillion supposed to be Guy Gardner in that movie. Yeah.
So they're doing Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner because obviously Guy Gardner was meant to be younger, one of the younger.
It depends.
Because they already had Hal. No, but what I mean is like Guy Gardner came out after like Hal. After did he come out after like Kyle Rayner too? Was he before? No, he was before.
He was the second Lantern outside after Kyle. It was Hal, Guy, John, then Kyle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's like a second one basically. I mean, I guess it could. I guess part of me, I still want to see. I would love to see Nathan Fillion as Hal. Just put him as Hal.
He makes sense as Hal.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's literally voiced Kyle before multiple times too.
I'm biased. I'd rather just even throw John or Kyle in there, or one of the other additions that they brought in, like with the I think Basil is one of the lanterns. He's one of the he's either Asian or Latin American lanterns, and they have the other like black. I don't know if she's like black person. She's fairer of skin. Like I'd love to see one of those lanterns get some shine in it because we've seen so much Guy and Hal.
I agree.
They've they've ran them into the dirt when it comes to the amount of stories they've been in. I think with John and the other lanterns, we don't really see them as much. I think John obviously the most, but even then, I don't think we've seen him the most out of quality outside of the Justice League stuff, like the animated series.
Weren't they supposed to do? It was supposed to be like a buddy cop thing where it was Guy and John. So
that's how they're introducing them in here. I'm pretty sure.
So they're introducing John Stewart as well in this, or just
possibly? I mean, as far as I know, they haven't shown it yet, but I think they'll probably have Guy and have him be like the introduction into that series, into the Lantern Corps, and get you into the actual.
Maybe have like a scene of some kind of him. To use a ring briefly or whatever. Do you know anything about who they're casting for John Stewart?
No, I mean I don't have any confirmation on John at all. I just was hoping that's a fan thing for me.
But I know they are doing that. I know that is happening. The buddy cop is happening with those two. So I mean, I wasn't sure if they had revealed anything.
I'm not sure. Only Nathan Fillion and Guy Gardner so far. Nothing about who's being cast for John yet.
Okay.
I don't know who I would want for that because I'm trying to think of like the grizzled military guy. Because remember, there's like that fan casting for Idris Elba for so long, and I'm like,
he's aged out of that though.
Yeah, it's past his prime on that one. I definitely don't want to see Michael B. Jordan come back for that. I think he's a little small for that.
He's small for that?
Yeah,
not John. No,
I don't want him as John. I don't want him as John, but he's not small.
How tall is Michael B? He's like, is he?
You saw him as Killmonger. You saw him even in Creed 3. He's
like he's somewhere between like 5'10", 6 feet. He's not a short dude.
He can carry himself. It's not an issue. He can carry himself. Yeah, I don't know that, but yeah,
I
don't want Michael B as John Stewart. He should be something else altogether.
But when I picture John, I picture like the big military grizzled veteran, not even like as a shredded perspective, just like big in stature, like a bigger, burlier dude in stature. I don't get that from Michael B. At least for me.
I know what you mean. Here's a reference y'all probably won't catch. I'll toss out there. Have y'all seen the show Lucifer by any chance?
Oh, nigga, you know I've seen Lucifer. Come on now.
Remember his brother Gabriel, the black.
I
can't remember. I'm gonna look up his name. He was also on the
Minadil.
Yeah, it was Minadil. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
So that cat,
I wouldn't mind him.
He was the president in 24, like one of the other seasons, the original one. Not Dennis Haysbert, but okay. So I could see him.
He's the president's brother in that. And then
he's a great actor. He's a great actor.
But he has that kind of gravitas that could work for Stewart, I think. He should be age appropriate, I think.
I wouldn't mind him. I wouldn't hate him as John. I would not.
Honestly, I wouldn't hate David Acosta either. The dude that played Luke Cage.
Oh yeah. Actually, he'd be he'd be.
I don't know. You haven't seen Evil at all, Otis, but I know he had an acting clinic in that shit. He had an acting clinic in that show.
Yeah, if you want to call it that, he was one of the main reasons why I did enjoy that show personally. I mean, I wouldn't want to see him in it, but if y'all think he could pull it off.
Wait, what is that guy's name? I don't think it's
David Acosta. No, oh fuck.
It's not David Acosta. That's not. David Acosta.
Oh my god, I just did a video essay on this man's name.
It's definitely David Acosta. I was like, wait, that's kind of wrong.
Just the name of the character. Damn, I'm pissed. I just did a whole video on this man.
Oh, his name is Michael Coulter. His actor.
Mike Coulter. Mike Coulter.
Yeah. He'd be fine. He definitely.
I'd enjoy him in that role.
What's funny about it though too is I do think it's funny because Mike Coulter there's such a gentle warmness. Bizarrely enough, he just seems so gentle and warm. I always think of John Stewart as being much more stern. Like he's a soldier. He's meant to be much more like kind of like. And also, if he's meant to be the counterpoint to Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion's lunacy, you need someone that actually is much more grounded and kind of like, I am the straight man.
I think it depends on the version as well. Because if you're looking at like him in like the later iterations of like JLU, or even in certain instances like that one episode where he went back to Detroit, he has this thing you see out of most military vets where they have like a lot of that troubled history, but they have like that calm, like soft demeanor because they don't like. At least I'm picturing my granddad in that sense where like he's seen some fucked up shit, but he's very gentle on the surface because that nigga has nothing but rage and trauma behind him. So that's something I've seen out of a lot of military vets. They tend to be softer on the outside presenting, and then they have a lot of that issues and shit behind them.
No, I mean that's very possible because Coulter, I do think he's a good actor. I know Otis didn't like him in Evil, but I think we all did appreciate him in Luke Cage. You know Luke Cage either?
No,
I thought he was cool.
Yeah, he didn't like Evil. I think it's just me and you and Evil. We're gonna.
I do like him in Evil. Yeah, he's
especially
very
the later seasons. Have you seen them? Like, was it season 3 or season 4?
I'm on season 2.
He had a fucking like 2 minute to 3 minute like scene where he was going like nuts, and I was like, "Hey, yo, this nigga is."
I do think he's a good actor, but I mean, this one thing that's fun, like you mentioned before, because I looked up our boy David Cornsweet. His resume is pretty much
crazy.
That's the dude's name. I think I'm probably pronouncing it Cornsweet.
Cornsweet or something. I think it's a Cornsweet.
I'm probably mispronouncing. I'm butchering it. My bad, David. I'll call you Dave. Your friends call you Dave. I'll call you Dave. But it's. I do
what
like
does
when
Cornsweet taste like.
Frosted Flake. Nope.
Cornsweet. It's like booty sweat, but a lot, I don't know, starchier. But it's the same thing as Cavill, because Cavill, before he did Man of Steel, really, he had done a couple things, but you really wouldn't know him. It's kind of fun when the iconic, or Christopher Reeve back in the day, when the iconic role is like their first thing. That's kind of because it's the way in a way you only see them as that. You're able to get lost in that, essentially, in the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Slight tangent on that. When it comes to playing a character, like legacy character this big, would you guys feel any kind of like apprehension as far as doing that? Because like from this far out, like
why are we doing it again? Why are we doing it again? Like there's a whole fucking school of characters that you can do, other Kryptonians, but yet we're doing like the 45th Superman story this year, right? So,
obviously he's the biggest. Yeah, he's the biggest money maker. So they're gonna have Superman. I do think they obviously you're right though. They could do other stories, but they gotta at least have their tentpole Superman around, and they can do other stories around after that. But they gotta have at least one.
Which I think they're gonna do with the legacy. Like they're gonna have. I think Kara's gonna be in this very first one, and they're gonna bring in other characters. Yeah, like the fact they're bringing in Lanterns in the first one means he's gonna like expand into the universe really early on.
Right. Yeah. And they are
that's not even
obviously too. So.
I meant by my question. I meant as far as like you being an actor. And you taking on this because like your reputation, especially if you're an up and coming actor, your reputation of an actor is going for the longest time is going to be dictated about how well you play this legacy character. Right. And people are already going to go in with a preconceived notion of what you should like. You don't even have a chance to like give your, I guess, take on it per se. You can give your take, but fans are going to have an image of what this character needs to look and sound like already. So if you do a horrible job at it, then you're typecast. Like if you're Jared Leto Joker initially, you're typecasted as that forever, going to at least until you do like a bunch of other shit that gets you out of that vein on like some Ryan Reynolds Deadpool type shit where you have to do.
I mean, Jared Leto has had like hundreds of roles before Joker. So I don't think that particular one applies. But I mean, I can see how like characters can resonate and be stuck as that character, depending on honestly, if you do a job too good or too bad, it can happen to you. So, it's definitely.
So that's my question. Like as an actor,
there's one thing too. Like you brought up the Joker, for example. Mm-hmm. One thing that happens is because it's such an iconic role that's been played multiple times, people are going to compare you to the other versions of it, and then some level you had to make sure you're distinct enough from them. And we've had a couple. We've actually been bizarrely lucky with the Joker. We've had Jack Nicholson, then we had Heath Ledger. Then I can skip over Jared Leto, but then obviously Joaquin Phoenix, his portrayal, I thought was a good portrayal with Joaquin Phoenix. So but they were each doing their own thing. But obviously when we have Superman, Brandon Routh, if y'all remember him, he was constantly compared to Christopher Reeves, and it kind of broke him down. He couldn't obviously hold a candle to it. He in a sense tried to be the next Christopher Reeves playing that role. And he had no individuality, and it suffered for it. And his career kind of took a nosedive after that for a while because of that. So trying to be the next version of someone you saw before in the exact same role is a very hard thing to do. It's hard. It's the big shoes to fill. Cavill worked because he was very much more of an emo version of Superman. He was a very different portrayal of the character. So that's why it's hard to come into a legacy role. So what though, Elvis?
I'm saying like it was a more emo version, but it's surely one of the better ones too.
I mean, he had more personality. He was more human. But I mean, also like with him, it was Tom Welling. Tom Welling playing in Smallville as he played Clark. It was a very different portrayal of the character compared to because before that it was pretty much just Brandon Routh and Christopher Reeves. And Tom Welling's character was a very different portrayal than either one of those. So if you're going to be an iconic legacy character, you had to make sure you were able to do it in your own way. Otherwise, you're only going to be compared to those that came before you. And you mentioned also, Otis, you mentioned the idea too of people only seeing you in that regard. Like obviously going to Superman, George Reeves famously got so typecast playing he couldn't find any work back in the day after he played Superman in the TV show way back in the day. And he, unfortunately, for those who don't know, he ended up taking his life because he couldn't find work at the age of like 42, very early on. So it does have a very, very dark side to things when you can't escape the shadow of being that character.
Right. And I think, especially with a character like this, that's like most of the way he's depicted in the comics are usually the same unless it's like an Elseworld version. I think with the Joker, you have the ease of like him being a chaotic character. There's no like one set way to play him. You just have like the iconic ways. It's been like there's no one Joker story where you can be like, oh, this is Joker's like this all the time. You have to point to like, oh, what's Buddy's name? I'm tripping. Oh my god, I'm blanking on Mark Hamill. This is Mark Hamill. This is the way that Ledger did it. This is the way Joaquin did it. Like they are like the big performances, but there's no like dead set. This is Joker. He does these things. These are his personality traits.
You gotta have a laugh.
The laugh is
the laugh. Yeah.
One thing is the laugh. I had to say.
versus like Superman. It's like, okay, he's an alien from this planet. These are the core issues that he has to like go through because he's a fucking alien on a planet of like he's a god amongst men at this point. So if you don't address these things, it's going to look really odd because that's a whole integral part of his development that you either skipped over or you're just not paying attention to. It will feel off kilter. Yeah,
and plus, I mean, you mentioned the Joker. The Joker, I would always say, is on the alignment chart. He's a chaotic evil, or at least at best, like chaotic neutral, right? But
no, he's chaotic evil.
He's evil.
I'm chaotic neutral. He a different level than me.
But Superman or Clark Kent is 9 times out of 10 is meant to be lawful good. Lawful good characters, no shade, but they're meant to be pretty. Yeah, they can't. Yeah, they don't have as much range. Even with it's really the Captain America though, because Captain America.
I don't know if he's lawful good.
I wouldn't say he's lawful good because that's the whole idea of Winter Soldier. Is the idea is he's very much more of
in that movie,
neutral good, where he's like actually like I do. Or is it neutral good? I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think neutral good. Yeah,
where he's like I actually want to do was actually right for the actual right thing in the situation as opposed to what I'm told to do is right. I have my own moral compass. I'm going to follow that. That's the whole basis for Civil War in the comics with Civil War because he's like I'm rebelling against what you guys tell me to do, so to speak. So, but Superman typically isn't that way. He very much is like with truth, justice, and the American way. So,
I guess. Moving on to the last thing on the docket, that being the new Blue Beetle trailer that came out. I don't know how much more information we're going to get, how much more info we're going to get out of this trailer, but we're going to react to it on the show, and you guys will find out live with us here. Craig, this is pre-recorded. This isn't live.
Yeah. I was gonna say, there's no way to find this. This is a pre-recorded show, bro. You can see it when it goes up later.
Yeah, it's not live in that sense.
Yeah, the whole thing will probably come out tomorrow after. We'll see. Either tomorrow or the next day.
Either way, it'll be okay.
Cool. Get rid of the shit at the bottom. All right, we good to go?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to fly. Let's do this. Yeah! You gotta force it to come out. What do you?
I hate the George Lopez beard. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That is a choice.
Did you know what was going to happen to my brother when you stalk him?
Wait, what city is this supposed to be?
You said what?
San Diego or something. Somewhere on the West Coast.
That was in LA, I thought.
Because it's a DC. In DC's world, they're obviously all made up cities.
I don't remember what city he
City.
Because usually I see them like in space in like big world event stuff. I never seen that.
I feel like his CGI does look good. It actually works.
It's on the best. It's way better than Flash.
Jeez.
Threat approaching. Engaging host protection.
This song makes no sense.
Everyone is dead.
None whatsoever.
Eliminated.
No one's about
It's like we want black people to like this, so black music.
So bad. They're like, minorities, please watch this. And I like this song, but I'm like, this does not make any sense of why this song is attached to this.
Uzi didn't make sense in the pre-trailer either. It's like, please, black people, go see this.
That makes sense. Susan Sarandon pops up. Why is Susan Sarandon in this?
Listen to me.
Uptown, baby. Is that a Decepticon?
That Dev,
So we're going Iron Man 2 with it. Is what we're going pretty much.
Ironmonger, the same.
Yeah. Arsenal at my disposal.
Anything, please.
Watch and learn, Jaime. Whatever you can imagine, I can create.
Yeah, that's more like it.
It's very Iron Man with the whole.
If he was the final boss, I'm gonna be so pissed if we just saw this whole movie in this trailer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we will.
That's gonna be the final boss.
Makes you weak.
For sure, final boss.
This is very much an Iron Man, like. It's Iron Man.
Oh, I forgot how bad it looks.
Target's a family. Sorry, my mom.
This trailer's showing too much already. Other reviews.
No, it's not Iron Man. It's Iron Hombre.
You're the Blue Beetle. I could use that arsenal right about now.
God, you never ask.
Hell yeah. They've been trying to stop the way. Don't stop. Bust it down. Nah.
I advise me back away.
I was down, but they say I'm up now.
That whole city looked like CGI. It looked like a video game.
And that trailer took me from the 6 I was expecting to a 5.
It did kind of lower it for me too. I gotta be honest.
That trailer didn't instill anymore. That made me more scared to see the movie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you.
We're all in agreement, which is I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
It's a bad thing. We should never all agree on something in this show. That thing is either amazingly spectacular or fucking buns.
Yeah,
we have never agreed. That's the two mediums.
That's true. It
looks pretty bad.
So what I will say is I do like the Jaime Reyes, the actual kid, the actor is playing. I like Cobra Kai. I actually like him.
I enjoyed him in Cobra Kai. I think he can do a good job as Blue Beetle, but I'm just like, I don't know if like it's just the CG to it or maybe like how they put together that trailer, but like I'm expecting that plot to be like paper thing. Like I'm talking about as thin as a George Lopez episode. But
you know what? It feels very much like this is written by a George Lopez's writers or George Lopez himself. What I think will probably happen is once we get Blue Beetle in like someone else's movie or interacting with other characters, he'll be much better. But him, I feel the same way about Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Will that happen though? Like, because like what is his name? We're talking about James Gunn gonna like let him into the Superman movie or?
He's already confirmed that though. Remember I told you that?
No,
I know they confirmed that he's going to be a part of the DCU. Like this is like the first movie of the DCU going forward.
You're right.
But like, if this bombs, right, is he gonna be like, yeah, he's still our guy, or he's gonna,
no, he's already confirmed. Like he's confirmed that like Blue Beetle's gonna be in his stuff, like in the verse going forward. But I don't know whose movie, but he's gonna be in most movies or shows going forward.
What might happen if it bombs? If it bombs though, they might not go back to this writing team or the director. But I feel they can pretty sure. But I'm pretty sure that I can't remember his name now. But the guy they cast to play Jaime Reyes, Miguel from Cobra Kai, I'm pretty sure he's on board for more movies. I'm pretty sure
burn all of that.
Yeah,
you got to kill off George Lopez in this movie for his character development, so he's not in more future movies. And then just forget this.
Because if this is the first, actually, like I think it is, it's the first confirmed step in the Gunn universe. It's not the first.
He's confirmed it's not. The first confirmed movie is the Superman movie.
That's the first one actually in the Gunn universe.
That's Gunn. Out of his mouth, he's confirmed that's the first one. But Miguel / Jaime, he is carrying over though, as opposed to all the other ones that. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
All I was saying was that. Obviously, all the other actors that play all the other characters in DC Universe are pretty much gone, essentially. But however, Jaime, he is carrying over. That actor and character is carrying over into the Gunn universe, right?
Yeah, the clip I saw, Gunn essentially, he was like, because I think they asked him about the movie. He was like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. Go see it. It's not attached to my stuff, but go see it." So
then this Jaime may not be.
No, he's going to be. He confirmed. He was like, this movie is not the first movie in the Gods and Monsters storyline he's going to do, but he does intend to use Jaime Reyes as like a plot device for his verse going forward.
So yeah, he will.
How big, I don't know, but he's going to be a part of it going forward.
He will continue on. I got you. Well, the thing is, like for me personally, I think Otis too. I'm not sure about how Dev feels. I felt like Spider-Man, the Tom Holland Spider-Man, worked best when he played with others. Like I feel like his better performance was in Civil War.
He was only good when he was directed by Rousseau. Like
right.
Period.
That's how I feel. Yeah, because he had the best banter with them. He had best when he play with other characters and whatnot. But he's by himself. He's very much almost too moody. He doesn't have any whips. So it's like I feel like that'd be the same thing with Jaime. This Blue Beetle may play better at other people's sandboxes as opposed to their own George Lopez pew beard thing that we saw.
Oh, even in Spider-Man comics, like you saw his best work when he's in like other teams, when he's teaming up with the X-Men or he's on the Avengers. Sure. Like that's I think a lot of characters got introduced like with the Ultimate Universe and other things like that through his books in general. If they could replicate that with a Jaime, it'd be cool because like you said, like this they're trying to build a mirror version of that character.
Right.
So I'm excited.
It's funny too. We keep kind of making comparisons to the Spider-Man. I didn't think about the fact that they're both kind of the younger superheroes that are meant to be kind of. They could be both. Yeah, that makes perfect sense then. So if he is kind of an analog or avatar for the young audience, it's a good kind of way to go. I get that.
Plus, I have a feeling these jokes are about to be so forced and so bad. I'm about to hear a million illegal immigrant jokes. I just watched Joyride too, like the other day. So I'm just like, oh, I can predict there's about to be a million race jokes. I know it. It's about to be a million immigrant jokes. That's like. Get Gunn and his people in there to write these quips, please. I can't hear a million jokes about somebody being an illegal immigrant.
We can't go that well. We can't go that well over and over and over again. No, we can't do that.
I'm gonna hear George Lopez crack them jokes like a million times over.
Man, now I'm really bummed. Now I'm really sad.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
We got it.
I mean, I'm just watching Warner Brothers. You know,
That's a verb. That's a verb now to Warner Brothers something.
You wanted it up.
Warner Brothers. The views of Otis does not reflect the total views of this podcast. Please give us your money. Please give us your money.
Give us your money. We know what we should do to end on a high note is react to. I know you don't want to do it, Dev, but we should do it anyways. Is react to the Mortal Kombat Lin Kuei trailer just because I want it's so badass. Because that is Warner Brothers. It is Warner Brothers very much. So.
I thought they were doing. I thought the movie was a Kenshi movie.
No, the game, the Mortal Kombat 1 game.
Oh, okay.
Trailer. Have you seen it already, Otis?
Is it 1 or is it like 11?
It's 1. It is Mortal Kombat 1.
No, because spoiler alert: Liu Kang basically is
reset the universe.
He's resetting the timeline. Right.
But Otis, have you peeped the trailer yet?
No, I haven't seen the trailer, but I've seen people talking about it, so I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Where?
But I mean, like everything I've seen story-wise from the MK1 looks pretty solid.
I'm glad they're starting. And here we go. Get the reference? You get it? No.
The Lin Kuei is a centuries-old clan dedicated to Earthrealm's defense. I will need your help.
That outfit is fantastic.
I will emerge victorious.
Look at that. Clean.
Defending Earthrealm when we could help lead it.
Good Jax. Let's get Otis.
Bro, just give me an animated movie in this style, bro.
I know. That's what I want.
I know it'll probably be expensive, but just give it to me.
It's still worth it. Look at this. Clean. In a plausible way. Grip.
The man button works on Sub-Zero. I'll give it to him.
Whatever it
takes. Smoke's hair.
We may not share blood. We are brothers.
Yeah, he's a scorpion tattoo.
They got all the Lin Kuei together.
Yeah, they did. Boy, was that Kenshi?
So I'm curious, like how this time on difference with like Shiro Ryu working with.
Cyrax. They threw him in one. Okay.
That doggone. Smoke, man.
Again? Like that's so extra, bro.
They do like that with their pieces, bro. It's like he gonna die.
He was already blind too.
Gonna die. I've been expecting you.
Okay.
Kung Lao. The Lao is Kung, boy. It's Kung.
What, Kung Lao?
You hear that music? He's my Hadouken. Jeez. Oh, Kung Lao. God damn. Hey.
Rest in peace.
Thank you to learn how to
Oh, I got Rain. Avatar Rain,
upon
basically.
you like daggers.
Rain?
Avatar Rain.
Yo!
Look at that water. Oh, look at that. That mix up. That mix up. Combos, man.
This is the first time having staff time.
Oh, it's got a side piece.
Frost. That original character? I don't recognize her at all.
Oh, Frost was in a.
Frost, she's been around for a while.
Yeah. I love how Smoke has those like sidecycles.
Got the Asuma knife.
They're putting all the Lin Kuei's in. I'm excited for that alone.
Gee, all those bones. That's a lot of bones for one dude. Clean. Oh.
The grenade? Why is a ninja using a grenade?
Yeah, football.
This was a smoke bomb. I
thought it was like a frag grenade. I'm like, bro, what?
Frag. Oh, there's Shang Tsung, of course. But yo, man, that was like
I'm saying all the smoke, I guess.
all the smoke.
But no, that's how you do a trailer, Warner Brothers. That's you're 50-50 for the night, I guess. You know.
I feel like they need to just like NetherRealm Studios make some actual movies and stuff.
Yeah, because then they did the Scorpion one, right? Did NetherRealm do that?
I don't know how much so NetherRealms did write and produce the movie.
I thought they at least.
I know they had a part in it because they do say NetherRealm Studios in the little opening for it.
But that would explain why it was so good. That's
they also did the next one too, though,
which is unwatchable. I think the biggest problem was they tried to make it like 3 movies into one. They squished they put way too much into one movie. So,
I mean, I never wanted to see a kaiju battle in Mortal Kombat, though. So I mean,
let's not talk about that ever again.
So we don't need to talk about the issues of putting kaiju battles in ninja shit.
Yeah, the Batman Ninja. You saw Batman Ninja with monkeys. You saw it.
He's talking about Naruto is what he's talking about.
I mean, all these things are true.
All three things
cool. I will say, at least the Susanos look cool. The Susanos had a cool design, at least.
But in Naruto or in Batman Ninja?
The Susanos, yeah, Naruto.
Okay.
Yeah, but like when you like expecting a ninja to like summon a mech.
It doesn't make sense.
When stealth doesn't work. Like, you know what? Fuck all this shit. I'm tired of this shit. I picture it being like an old ninja, like he's just like old. I'm not sneaking around anymore. Okay, I'm done. I'm tired of it. Scorch Earth.
Like they didn't snuck up on me too many times. I'm done with it.
Goddamn back hurts. I'm not crouching any fucking more. I swear to God.
There ain't nothing hidden about this dragon, my nigga.
Oh fuck. And also, that reminds me, this is a side note, another thing I'm excited for, that new Ninja Turtles animated film.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be amazing. I've seen the voice actor list for that. I've seen the animation for it. Looks sick. I'm excited. For that.
I mean, it does look good, but just give me Roni. That's all I want.
That's a hardcore. That's like berserk level.
They're not. Kids aren't ready for that. They're not ready.
Yeah,
for that.
That's not for kids.
It's not for the kids.
They're not ready for that.
That's the other end.
For me.
I mean, we get the game coming. The game's coming.
They did a brilliant game. Oh, I didn't know that.
You remember the announcement of like I think was it Square Enix or somebody was working, or there was somebody the people that did God of War I think was doing it or was working on it.
Oh, but Santa Monica Games did God of War.
It's either them or it was somebody like either them or Square Enix. Square Enix is fucking making everything. They just like they're you know what? Avengers don't work. We just gonna pump out these games, bro.
Yeah. But when they do like with the Turtles real quick, but the new Turtles movie, they actually sound like teenagers. They actually sound
right
for the first time ever. They actually sound like kids.
You got acne and braces and shit. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
this is cute.
That's what it should be like.
This reminded me of the animated series they had on Nickelodeon.
The last one,
yeah. I don't know if you guys watched that at all.
The last one was fire. It was anime based. It was anime. Yeah. So I watched it.
Was it? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Like it was anime. The style was definitely anime inspired.
Yeah, for those who haven't watched, if you get a chance.
No, wait, are you guys talking about the one where they're teleporting around and shit?
Yeah, that one.
Not that one. I'm talking about the one. This probably came before that.
Oh, the one where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the where it's like they're they all have like their eyes are all white for all of them.
Yeah.
That one.
They're all like kitty.
That
one
was pretty. That one was actually around for a while too. That one actually did pretty well.
Yeah, it ran for a long time.
Yeah, but the one after that, the anime one, that one is if you get a chance, even if you haven't watched the whole show, if you get the whole show, just watch at least like you can watch on YouTube like the last battle, the last fight.
I've seen it.
It's like,
all out, man.
It's fantastic.
I don't think I've ever seen it. Actually, that whole show. I've seen that fight around like the groups a million times. I don't think I ever saw that iteration.
Yeah,
it's an interesting iteration because I mean it's not your typical version of them. Rasta ends up being a leader of them in that one.
Mm-hmm. He's the oldest one.
Like it's a couple changes about it. Like Leo is more of a goofy character than what he's typically portrayed as. It's their own version, but I like it. They give him mystic powers and the animation. They go.
Have you guys seen a bad Turtles series or movie? Did you get?
Yes,
not the live action. Yes. Not the live action stuff. I was take that out. The animated animation, not live action.
Bad one, not necessarily a bad one, but there's still some like very not great ones. But I would not call them anything bad.
Yeah, because obviously the one I grew up with from the iconic one from the 80s, the first one was obviously great in my opinion, but I know it has a lot of problems as far as you look at it now. But I know the ones you mentioned, Deb, the later one that came out where they have the all white eyes, it's kind of that's the most prolific one that most people around know. Most kids and stuff know now.
I grew up on
the 2000s version. The 2000s.
No,
version.
not that one. Not that one. We're talking about the one. This is like a Nickelodeon version that came out way after this. The one he's talking about.
It was where they had the white armbands on their elbows and stuff.
The 2000s one is the one I grew up watching. That's the one I got put on for the first time when they went into. They had like it was like almost like Batman animated series style, like
right. Yeah,
they went into like the Cyberverse for one of them and some shit like
that. That's a bad one. Yes, it's.
You don't have to remember that part of it.
Not that season, but
but like the early part of that was.
And nigga, I'm never getting over that animated movie where they had the fucking the vigilante Raph nigga fight Leo on that rooftop.
Yeah,
that fight was so cold.
Yeah,
the niggas size each other up on the roof in the rain and shit. I was like, oh my god, this is hard.
Well, because the best part is they know they're fighting each other. At first, he's wearing a helmet. They don't know they're fighting each other. Then he takes it off. So, oh, you are okay. Let's go. Let's go. That's gonna get even worse.
And Raph was like, nah, nigga, I'm on that ass now.
Yeah. Teammate. It's called Teammate.
That was good. That was a good movie.
Speaking of movies, did y'all ever see
the jungle too? They had Leo hunting down niggas in the jungle and like Brazil some shit started.
Guerrilla warfare in them,
bro. I'm like, this thing is Batman, right? He's a legit. They were doing ninja shit in that movie, and I fuck with it heavy.
Well, because they are ninjas. That's the whole. Supposed to be ninjas. But did y'all see the Batman and Ninja Turtles movie, animated movie?
Yeah.
I liked it. Actually,
it wasn't bad. It was an odd pairing that you don't see too often.
Because Batman is still trying to be more serious, and they're more goofy. But yeah.
Plus, he used mutant turtles in the Batcave. I'm just like, usually when you see somebody like that, Batman's fighting them.
Yeah, it's a weird position. He does fight.
Also,
he does fight
after creating them. Don't forget that part. After creating them.
Okay, let's have this conversation real quick because I've seen Darnell post that beforehand.
I don't.
How many of his villains has he actually created outside of the Joker? I won't even give him Red Hood was just that nigga Jason was just stupid.
Yeah. It's like, it depends on. Because like sometimes he'll be the reason why Man-Bat is around. Sometimes he'll be the reason why Mr. Freeze is around.
Because usually when I see most of that stuff, it's like in association with Wayne Tech. But Buddy, he just owns Wayne Tech. He doesn't make decisions on like what projects get funded. He finds out about the bullshit after the fact.
No, yeah, that's true. But I mean, like, as far as if you go with like, if you,
I'm like, is he directly involved with that? Or he's just like, nigga, this is how I get my money to be Batman. I don't make decisions on a day-to-day of who gets funding. Like he's responsible indirectly, I guess, because his name's on, but he doesn't really. Yeah, he doesn't do much. Any owner of a company in general, like with any kind of like Elon Musk isn't at Tesla every day making decisions on the particular models or what they do. He's like, I'm here every now and then to check in on shit.
But he is very much involved with making the car, much more so than Bruce Wayne is involved with anything that Wayne Tech really does. He's
right. That's why I don't blame him. Like I get for the fact of like a lot of people blame Batman for shit because they're like, oh, Joker did this because you were around, or like this happened because of you. But like, how many villains has he actually directly created out of his own actions?
So part of it is a whole much bigger conversation we'll have another time, but part of it is because he inspired them to come about and do their thing. Like, for example, like the Riddler. The Riddler sees Batman as a challenge, therefore he wants to always have riddles to actually having a worthy adversary. Or having Scarecrow. The Scarecrow sees Batman as the one person he can't scare. He's always trying to find some way to scare him or having something to do. So the idea too that he actually fears Batman. The one thing he actually fears is Batman. So he's obsessed with him because of that. There are different versions, different reasons why certain characters essentially do attribute their existence to Batman on some level. But at the same time, I don't know how much you actually really.
Because then with that concept, I could argue that for every superhero ever.
That's what I'm saying.
The Flash and Zoom with Superman and whoever, any of his gallery. Like when you're a symbol of hope or justice or whatever else, people are gonna either want to be like you or they're gonna hate you because you stopped them, whatever else.
Right.
I don't attribute that to Batman directly.
And we have someone chimed in saying Two-Face. Two-Face is
Because what version? Because in the versions I've seen, that's the mob that threw the acid on him because he was like doing
That's the original version of the mob.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how you can really blame Batman for that. You say Bruce Wayne felt him as a friend, kind of.
Yeah, but even then, like he didn't throw the acid on this nigga's face in the courtroom in the middle of broad daylight.
Right, and he didn't make Harvey because Harvey had the whole mental kind of before.
He was already like schizophrenic already.
Yeah, he was doing the issues beforehand, so that wasn't Bruce's fault. So
you can't say hush if you want to say the redhead. Like he told that nigga Jason.
Oh, Tommy Elliott. Yeah, but still with Tommy Elliott, that's another whole issue.
Friendship thing.
Yeah, and that's Tommy. That was way before Batman even existed too. When they were friends, he had issues once Tommy Elliott's dad died in the car accident.
And the biggest one I heard was like the Crimson Crowbar. I'm like, I'll give you that one, but even then, he was like, "Hey, bro, don't try to fight the Joker by yourself. Let me do that shit." And he was like, "Nah, nigga, I got this. I'm on this."
He literally said, "Stop! Don't do it." Yeah.
As an adult, as the full-on Red Hood, him and Barbara and Dick were all like, "Jason, don't do it. He's going to fuck you up again." He's like, "Nah, nigga, I got this nigga now." What happens in the same fucking situation? Booty bug naked with getting beat with a crowbar. And this time it's even worse because now you're a grown-ass man.
Yeah.
But he don't listen. Yeah. So I'm just like,
he's not gone out and recruited a child that was out, robbing people and stuff to be a Robin. That wouldn't have happened.
I mean, hey, he's trying to save inner city youth.
He's trying to give him a better life. Yeah, he was trying to.
Granted, he could have just donated to Boys and Girls.
Turning him into a child soldier.
I mean, that was.
The nigga had an option.
It worked before. Dick Grayson. It worked with Dick Grayson.
Yeah. Dick Grayson. Spoiler. Damien's already like the trained super soldier.
Damien's from before.
So yeah, we can count.
And Tim Drake has a dad.
Barbara. Well, maybe not Barbara so much.
Not Barbara so much. It's a little sketchy.
That whole we should go.
But again, he didn't force them. The niggas had an option. It could have been like, "Hey, the first time I get kidnapped by the Joker, I'm like, you know what? Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should go home and like get a job." I should use all this genius I have to like not get shot in the spine.
Yeah. We're going along now. But is there anything else you want to say before we end this?
No, I was just getting clips at this point. I was just clip hunting at this point. That's about all I have for the show. This is a fully loaded show, a bunch of interesting stuff. Hopefully we're not going to have a conversation about a lot of the DC landscape for a good little bit now. I know Ethan's tired of it. So maybe we'll have an update in like a year or a couple months if something big or a bunch of big events happen. We'll see. We'll probably review.
Yeah, the next movie or whatnot that drops. We can talk about that.
We didn't even talk about the Flash. That was a whole thing on this docket. We didn't even talk about that shit.
I mean, because it's so
good. That's his own episode is for the Flash.
Really quickly, just before we leave out, then just give me like your quick like thoughts and like a quick rating on it then before we take off.
Mid, that's the rating.
Mid.
It was because I think Otis sometimes said before we all agreed on is that it was better than any of us thought would be essentially, but it still wasn't like great. It's I did like that they gave. I actually really like the idea of a young Barry and an old Barry, their relationship as far as like a Barry trying to teach himself how to grow up essentially, and I did like that. I did like the idea of them trying to completely end the DC universe in a way, but it had lots of problems. It had lots of problems.
Right. Yeah, kind of similar according to those two. The movie obviously wasn't finished. Like they obviously didn't, like the editors, I don't think they had enough time to finish what they were doing. CGI looked pretty bad. A lot of the editing was really thrown apart. You could tell they felt like there was like more to the movie that they cut out to try to piece it together because they lost or they were seeing they were supposed to shoot. They didn't shoot. Keaton was cool. Almost cut this nigga Jared Leto. The fuck is the actors in The Flash? I'm tripping. I'm getting old. This thing is Canadian.
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller did fine. I thought Ethan said he did a lot better than I thought he would do. Him playing a younger version of himself was kind of cool to see that dynamic with himself bounce back and forth. I thought that was cool. But yeah, all in all, the movie it felt pointless in the grand scheme of DC stuff. That was like, hey, we recouping this money one way or another, so just here, watch this shit.
Because they had to reshoot I think at least half of the movie. I think it cost like $400 million to make because they had to reshoot so much of it over and over again and do so many things. Mm-hmm. And that's why the CGI looks so unfinished because they had to keep redoing so many different things. And they had the idea of like, what if we have it where this, what they call it, the chrono ball or whatever it was from the show the time.
Yeah.
It's like, I get the idea they're going for, but it's still, we've seen so much good CGI in movies and games and stuff now that when anything looks less than polished, it looks like shit. So it was a weird choice to have people spend that much money to go into a theater to see a product that looks like something like from a PS2 or 3 games. Like, that's a weird choice.
Like if you decided to keep this and scrap that Batgirl movie, what if that looks like? That's what I'm worried about.
Horrible.
That's yeah.
I honestly, it's like the buddy that played almost like Constantine, buddy from Supernatural, the angel from Supernatural,
Castiel.
Well, he's in that Gotham Knight show. He talked about how miserable he was with that shit, how bad it was.
Wait, is that still coming out at all?
It's already out. It's been out.
Oh, really?
Yes, buddy, like that actor, he talked about how bad that shit was and how much he hated it, like filming it.
Misha Collins.
Yeah, like the only reason I'm gonna watch it to see like if I recognize any of the shit from where I work at to see if like, oh, I have been there. I've been there. That's cool. I'm on here.
That is well.
Watch it.
I'm skimming it, to be honest with you. But back to The Flash. Yes, mid. I think it would have been better if they finished it. They didn't. Did you guys hear the rumor? I don't know if this is confirmed or this is just like fan click theory thing of the guy that plays the Flash in the CW shows getting like a spin-off show or some shit like that.
I did not hear that at all.
Like another spin-off Flash show.
He had 9 seasons already. Literally,
yeah. It's called like something circus or something like that. I don't know. It could have been fan made.
And a reward.
That could have been fan made. So I don't know how accurate that is. I hadn't seen it anywhere else besides on that post somewhere. Hopefully not. But yeah, we're kind of scoring from Flash stuff right now. Hopefully in the next phase when we get them, it's better than what we got. Yeah. Any other closing remarks before we head up out of here?
Do better, Warner Brothers. Like you can do it. Like just have like one good slate of like consistent projects. Now stop talking as much trash. Not all together, but like maybe less. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So
I hope they do well. I hope that. I mean, here's the thing: we like these characters. We want them to do well. We want them to be good movies. No one wants to spend money on a bad movie. What are you talking about?
All in all, the Warner Brothers conversation.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
I couldn't said it better myself.
It's a big thing.
Church announcements. Anybody around, be sure that if you're planning on going to DreamCon, check out my boy Otis. He'll be there. It's blurred.com, or are they just blurred or is it blurred.com? It's like the official.
Blurred is the business, but I mean, go to blurred.com.
Yeah, so they'll be there at a booth selling some merch. You'll get to meet our correspondent on the ground, our lovely co-host. He'll be there. See him in all his 6'4" glory. And then as well, if you want to catch all of us, we will be at LA Comic-Con December 1st through the 3rd or 4th. So we'll all be there at a booth selling merch as well. So if you want to meet us all, we will be there. We'll remind you guys closer to the date of, but just to kind of, if you're planning to come see your boys. As far as that goes,
back to DreamCon, we are official sponsor for it this year, so make sure you come give us some love. We'll have a official DreamCon shirt that we're selling there, and you can only get it there. So come see us, man.
Yeah, we're gonna get more merch soon. We're gonna talk to Trump. I'm trying to get a Then and Now shirt made. I want to get that collab made at some point. I'm hoping for it. Trust.
We get merch, man. We'll get that next year. We just gotta find the right designs for it. But yeah, we're gonna do it though. We got it.
That'll be fire. But yes, that's all we have for you guys. More content coming, I guess, at some point soon. We are going to be reworking the show to an extent to make it more of an event. They will be coming less frequently, but when they do come, they will be bigger, better, brighter, prettier, just like my boys do-rag over here. They're gonna look really good. The do-rag, 50 Cent and all that. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we thank you for your support. We hope for your continued support, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.